Welcome to Tales from College Football. This season I'll be pondering college football what-ifs, where we'll take glimpses into alternate realities and explore how the world of college football might have unfolded differently. I'm your host, Brandon Peterson.
Joe Paterno had a coaching career that lasted 46 years at Penn State. And during that time, he was 409, 136, and 3. Florida State legend Bobby Bowden amassed a record of 377, 129, and 4. Paul Bear Bryant was 323, 85, and 17. You might be thinking to yourselves, wow, that is a lot of wins. But you know what's on my mind? What if we still had ties in college football? The ties. So many sports fans dislike them, and I have to admit, I enjoy a good tie because of the speculation it provides and how heated the fan bases get over them. Navy head coach Eddie Erdelatz said a tie is like kissing your sister. In 1984, Tom Osborne in his scoring explosion, go for two as the game was winding down against Miami. The tie would have given Coach Osborne his first national championship, but Miami would make a stop and start a dynasty of their own. Notre Dame scores on the very last play of the 1966 Game of the Century versus Michigan State for the national championship. Ara Parseghian elects to go for the extra point and tie the game instead of a 2-point conversion. And Notre Dame and Michigan State would both be national champions in various bowls. Coach Parseghian would have to defend himself throughout the years, being criticized for letting the clock wind down, and he claimed he didn't go for a tie, but rather the game ended in a tie. Let's speculate what it would be like without free football. What if overtime wasn't adopted in the 1995 bowl season and used in all of college football in 1996? Right away, the 1995 Las Vegas Bowl would have Toledo and Nevada ending in a tie. Gary Pinkel and his Toledo Rockets would end with a 9-0-2 record. In 1997, Nebraska Cornhuskers at Missouri. Nebraska scores on the famous flea kicker when Scott Frost's pass to Chevin Wiggins is dropped, but then kicked into the air, leaving the heroics of freshman Matt Davison to scoop the ball right before it hits the ground. Without overtime, Corby Jones and company prevent the Husker win. Nebraska would no doubt slide in the rankings, as in real life they dropped from 1 to 3 when they actually won the game. They would continue to play Tennessee in the Orange Bowl, but wouldn't send Coach Osborne out as the national champion. Frank Solich would take over a program that fell short 1 year before, perhaps giving him a little more grace and time to build a Husker program in his own vision. Without overtime, we don't have college football playoffs in this format. But we're going to use the bracket for our bowl games in this particular scenario. So number 4 Alabama upsets number 1 Clemson 24-6 in the 17-18 Sugar Bowl. And this would leave the national championship race wide open. And in the granddaddy of them all, number 2 faces number 3, winner take all. This is a great game to watch with a lot of scoring. We would have Baker Mayfield throwing for 2 touchdowns and have a reception for another. Running backs Sonny Michael and Rodney Anderson would be featured nicely. Nick Chubb would score on a 2-yard touchdown, leaving Oklahoma enough time for one final drive against Georgia. Oklahoma was unable to get a score, and the game ends in a tie. Oklahoma would finally win a national championship in an era that was dominated by SEC programs. Just last year, in the 2024 Rose Bowl, number 1 Michigan takes on number 4 Alabama. In the fourth quarter, J.J. McCarthy tosses a 4-yard touchdown pass to Roman Wilson, and the extra point makes a 20-20 tie. Not the storybook finish for Jim Harbaugh, but at least he would leave his program having the upper hand against his rival Buckeyes. With number 2 Washington Huskies holding off number 3 Texas Longhorns in the Sugar Bowl, Washington would claim its first national championship since 1991. What a season for Kalen DeBoer. And this may have given him more support in terms of finance, staff, and facilities. And knowing he would be in a big-name conference to compete in with the Big Ten, he might have stayed at Washington, leaving Alabama to pursue other options for a departing Nick Saban. Now let's finish with one more scenario. We like to think of all the scoring that overtime brings, but in 2021, Illinois traveled to Penn State, and the game would be decided in a college football record of 9 overtimes. What was the final score with 9 overtimes? Are you ready for this? Well, in Big Ten fashion, Illinois would win 20-18. That's right, there were 5 scoreless overtimes. This overtime gave the defenses their time to shine. In regulation, this game would have ended in a 10-10 tie. I hope you all took the under, as the over was set at 46.5 points. As we close out this alternate history of college football without overtime, it's clear the ripple effects would have stretched far beyond just the wins and loss records. Iconic moments that featured careers shaping legacies and electrified fan bases would be replaced by bittersweet ties and unresolved what-ifs. The thrill of sudden death victories, the drama of multi-overtime games, and the heartbreak of coming so close would all be missed from the sport's DNA. But maybe, just maybe, the absence of overtime would have preserved some old-school charm, a sport where strategy and preservation played as big a role as sheer grit. Perhaps fans would have learned to embrace the chaos of shared championships and unbeaten ties. What's undeniable is that college football's overtime, love it or hate it, has delivered some of the most memorable and iconic moments in sports history. Without it, the landscape of the game and how we remember the greatest players and teams would look very different.
Thanks for listening to Tales from College Football with your host, Brandon Peterson. Tune in every other week as new what-ifs will be discussed from our favorite sport. Be sure to reach out and share your thoughts and ideas with me on X, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok at Code Peterson. You can also check out my website, codepeterson.com.